Daredevil, the 2003 movie starring Ben Affleck as Matt Murdock. Yes, I know it's not exactly everyone's favorite superhero movie, but is it really that bad? Granted, the emo soundtrack dates it instantly, the romance is corny at times, the special effects are not great, the fight scenes often ridiculous, and Clarke Duncan's Kingpin is a bit disappointing next to Vincent D'Onofrio's recent portrayal, which is pretty perfect. But I bet you I can find 10 cool things about it. Number 10. The costume. People tend to crap on the look of Daredevil in this movie, but I honestly think that's just because everywhere you turn these days, you see a badass looking superhero. I agree that perhaps red leather isn't the most flexible fabric for an acrobatic superhero, but it works in this movie. Had it been redder, yellow, or tighter, can you imagine how awful it would have looked? Plus, the film mercifully avoids the usual cliche where you see the hero wearing a shitty costume for like an hour, only to make a proper one later on. And no, the suit in the current series is not better.
A fucking costume.
Number 9. The Kevin Smith cameo. Smith cameos as a forensics guy who checks out Daredevil's leftover weapon and informs Joe Pantoliano's reporter that he hides something unexpected.
Well, some pretty weird shit right here, man, right?
Number 8. Jon Favreau. The actor and future director of Iron Man plays the role of Matt Murdock's pal and colleague Foggy Nelson in this movie, and while he doesn't offer much more than comic relief, as that, he's pretty effective. This Daredevil movie is rather dark in tone and look, so when you finally get a day scene, it's a bit refreshing to have something a bit more lighthearted going on. Whether he's mistakenly drinking mustard coffee, stroking a statue's boobs, or missing hoops, Jon Favreau is always doing something entertaining and he helps add some welcome fun to the proceedings. Number 7. The Stan Lee cameo. The idea of Stan Lee having a cameo in every single Marvel movie was still a relatively new thing back in 2003, so seeing him pop up in Daredevil was a treat. He plays a man reading the newspaper as he's about to cross the road. The young and blind Matt Murdock saves his ass. Saved by his own creation. Pretty cool. Number 6. The radar vision. This is something I find is much too underplayed in the new series. One of the things I used to like in the comics was the way in which Daredevil's radar sense was depicted. And this movie makes a genuine attempt to portray that, sometimes even in a surprisingly poetic way.
When it rains, it's like there's a rooftop on the world. Each raindrop makes a sound the first time it falls on a surface. Just then, it's like I can see again.
The new Daredevil gives the impression that he basically can see everything all the time. Here, the approach is a little different, as Matt Murdock certainly can't see everything, but senses most things through sound and touch, which is more appropriate, I think. Bottom line is, if we can see what Daredevil feels on a day-to-day basis, then we understand him much better and feel for him more. The water coffin might have been a little too much though. Number 5. Ben Affleck. I really didn't mind the actor playing Daredevil. In fact, I thought he did a decent job both as Matt Murdock and the tortured hero. He really doesn't get enough credit for not only pulling off that costume, but also delivering a layered performance. Unfortunately, said performance is kinda soiled by some rubbish CGI effects, this admittedly terrible scene, and the occasionally goofy dialogue.
Go to hell, Diablo.
Okay. You'll beat me there.
Number 4. The dark tone. Indeed, the film doesn't go down the Spider-Man or X-Men route, instead taking a page out of Batman and trying something darker. Hell's Kitchen is a rain-drenched, bloody, cruel place where it's almost always night. Matt Murdock sleeps in a friggin' coffin, everyone's family is killed by the Kingpin, Daredevil straight up murders people, there's gothic imagery everywhere, the heroes get their asses kicked constantly, and worst of all, we're made to listen to Evanescence. My god, no. Make it stop. Number 3. Daredevil's character arc. It's pretty ballsy to introduce a Marvel superhero and have him kill people so harshly, even making jokes as he's doing it.
That's not heaven. I'm killing you. That's the C-Train.
Hell, the worst thing Spider-Man ever did back in the 2000s was be a douchebag to his girlfriend and walk kinda funny. The Daredevil we're presented early on is trouble to say the least. Not so much a hero as an anti-hero, with good intentions but no real direction. So it's very satisfying to see this character's journey from a ruthless vigilante mistaken for a villain
Please don't hurt me.
I'm not the bad guy, kid.
To a hero, Hell's Kitchen can get behind. Number 2, the director's cut. A lot of the times, director's cuts are just as disappointing as the theatrical cuts, sometimes even worse. The director's cut of Daredevil, however, definitely improves on the original by adding in a plot for Matt Murdock, thereby giving our hero stuff to do during the day, and giving the film a more balanced pace. Said plot involves a murder case and Coolio, of all people, because when you think Daredevil, you think Coolio.
Man, I was so high, I can't remember everything.
We also get more Bullseye, which is always nice, and more character development all around. The theatrical cut was much too focused on action, and frankly, that's not this movie's strong point at all. And number 1, Bullseye. I know I shouldn't, but I love Bullseye in this movie. Colin Farrell tends to be hit or miss for me as an actor. He's either good or ridiculously boring. Now, you can tell he's having the time of his life in this movie. Not only does he get to embrace his Irishness a little bit, but he's given all the best lines, all the best jokes, and all the best moments.
Show mercy.
The happy glint in his eye when he's murdering someone, even an innocent old lady, is priceless. And the way in which he kills his victims is always entertaining and creative. He's vain, over the top, goofy looking, but also a genuine threat as he single-handedly takes on both Elektra and Daredevil and wins effortlessly.
Bullseye.
To say Bullseye steals the show is an understatement. If only the whole film had been as fun as him.
Bullseye.
I'm sure Marvel will deliver a much better Daredevil movie than this one at some point, but in the meantime, this movie at least has some things going for it.
Bullseye.